Forget every manifestation strategy you've encountered. What you desperately require is discovering the exact moment reality begins surrendering to your will. This secret doesn't reside in mental visualization or emotional desire. It lives within your spoken declaration. When you vocalize from the correct energetic center, miracles unfold. This transmission reveals why countless spoken words produce zero results and demonstrates how one vibrational shift in your vocal expression can shatter barriers, unlock doorways, and awaken dimensions where impossibility transforms into absolute certainty. But understand this clearly: what unfolds here has remained concealed across centuries. If these words reach your awareness now, your readiness has been confirmed. This wasn't a random discovery. Perhaps you haven't fully grasped it yet, but something infinitely more profound than your hunger for manifestation mastery is occurring at this precise moment. A living energy pulses beneath your conscious awareness, a frequency that recognizes your essence, originating not from external sources, but ascending from your deepest core, like an ancient resonance, like a summons that has waited through millennia to be acknowledged. The most remarkable aspect: this force never demands attention. It whispers gently. It doesn't force entry through barriers. Instead, it flows through walls, dimensions, memories, and blockages. It reaches you exactly when your soul awakens from automatic living. The instant something within decides, without logical understanding, that partial existence no longer satisfies. This presence revealing itself now connects to no contemporary method, no commercialized secret, no superficial instruction manual. It exists beyond the chaos of mystical promises. It operates on a different plane, more refined, more ancient, more genuine. This energy possesses identity. But before identity, it was pure vibration. Before vibration, it was focused intention. And before intention, it was the sacred word. This word transcends religious symbolism or poetic expression. It represents creative force in constant motion, pulsating within you during silence, during feelings of disconnection, during apparent stagnation. The primordial word is reality's shaping frequency. Not through beautiful phrases or mechanically repeated mantras, but through authentic vibration emerging from your consciousness, flowing through your physical form, and entering existence through your true being, not your projected identity. Over time, this force was suppressed, emptied, transformed into noise, ridiculed, concealed, and distorted. Meanwhile, the world grew increasingly chaotic. Words began being used without conscious awareness. Soulless sounds, careless expressions, affirmations lacking foundation. The word became trapped, buried, awaiting remembrance. Therefore, despite trying everything, many feel something remains blocked. They engage in visualization, study spiritual practices, perform rituals, yet continue cycling through identical patterns, because the word only truly activates when your frequency aligns with your essence. This isn't learned knowledge, it's remembered wisdom. You experience this calling perhaps during moments when everything seemed collapsing, yet something within insisted on moving forward. Or during sudden stillness amid chaos, when a mysterious yet familiar sensation flowed through you, declaring, "This isn't finished. Something powerful remains here." That something is the word awaiting space to function. But why this extended waiting? Why the prolonged silence? The answer exists within your story, within humanity's collective narrative. For centuries, we were conditioned to distrust our personal frequency, follow prescribed scripts, suppress our feelings, and repeat manufactured truths without question. The word became automatic repetition, hollow utterances, meaningless noise. But now something has fundamentally shifted. You're not positioned where you were before. If you've reached this moment, your frequency has already begun adjusting. The word doesn't activate randomly. It only emerges for those prepared to reconnect with forgotten wisdom, discredited knowledge, and what has always existed internally, even when buried beneath layers of fear, doubt, or unconscious programming. The original word possesses no urgency, yet maintains clear direction. And now it has discovered you. Complete understanding isn't necessary yet. You simply must feel, because what unfolds from this point doesn't arrive to educate. It comes to activate. It doesn't come to explain. It comes to awaken. It doesn't teach unknown concepts. It reignites your eternal knowing. Knowledge that was erased, put to sleep, suffocated by a world determined to convince you that creation is impossible. But retreat is no longer possible. The word has recognized your energy field. Now that this force has found you, it won't cease until complete remembrance occurs. You were formed by the word. Before any shape manifested, before any name was spoken, only one vibration existed. It wasn't light, it wasn't sound. It was pure consciousness, an absolutely silent, pulsing field without time, without matter, without form, yet containing intention so clear, so pure, that with a single impulse, everything began. It wasn't an explosion, it wasn't coincidence, it was expression, a subtle movement, yet infinitely precise, as if the totality decided momentarily to reveal itself. The revelation wasn't visual, it was frequency. It was primordial sound, a word. This word didn't originate externally. It didn't descend from sky or distant source. It emerged from the center of creative consciousness itself. Because of this, it didn't merely create the world. It became the world. Here the story touches you directly. You're not a separate piece of the universe. You weren't manufactured later or placed here as observer. You were born from the identical vibration that created stars, oceans, and constellations. You were generated from the original word. This transcends poetry. This is foundation. Your body carries the same geometry. Your atoms follow the same dance. Your existence vibrates in harmony with that sound that never stopped echoing. That's why deep within, even during your most disconnected moments, you still sense there's something more, like a forgotten part attempting to remember its origin. But that remembering was interrupted because immediately after birth came external sounds, names, labels, words that defined you before self-awareness. Those words weren't your choice. They were deposited. They were programmed. They declared you fragile, that you needed to conform, that you must follow rules, please obey. They said you must achieve what truthfully always existed within. You believed it, not from weakness, but because it was the only available vocabulary. Words became molds, molds transformed into identities. Without realizing, you began adopting realities that didn't belong to your soul. You found yourself trying to fit ideas not born from your heart, speaking things that didn't resonate with your truth, thinking thoughts carrying fear, scarcity, limitation. Each time you did this, the original word, the one that created you, withdrew further. Your natural creative ability began being sabotaged by a vocabulary of denial. You started defining yourself through repeated phrases that went unnoticed. I cannot. I'm not good enough. That's not for me. It's always been this way. That's just who I am. Small words, yet they functioned like invisible decrees shaping your reality without awareness. Because language possesses power, but true power isn't in memorized words. It's in words you believe. What you believe, you manifest. If throughout your life you've heard stories that diminished you, painted you as weak, lost, sinful, or unworthy, then you began living those stories. Even if they weren't yours, even if your soul screamed for something different. That's where false identity is born. An identity created by accumulated external words. A character needing approval to be accepted. Who fears mistakes because believing mistakes disqualify. Who repeats patterns without understanding because thinking that's realistic. This false self vibrates at survival frequency, not creation frequency. The more you identify with this character, the more distant you feel from your creative source, as if an invisible wall existed between you and power that has always been yours. But that wall isn't real, it's vibrational, constructed from unconscious repetitions of absorbed words and phrases spoken with authority that you accepted as laws. The most surprising part is that despite everything, something within you resisted. Something survived conditioning, even if silenced, ignored, disbelieved. A frequency never stopped pulsing. A vibration carrying your origin, never contaminated, still knowing your identity. That vibration is about to manifest. You didn't notice the beginning, but it started early, very early. Before understanding word meanings, your vibration was already being shaped by surrounding voices. Voices filled with fear, shame, belief in limitation. Voices thinking they protected while actually programming. This programming didn't enter through rational mind, it entered through frequency. Guilt was among the first vibrations you learned. Not because you did wrong, but because you were told being yourself wasn't enough. That wanting more was sin, that shining was dangerous, that feeling deeply was excessive. Thus the spark of creation began being smothered. You were taught to restrain energy, hold breath, lower eyes, apologize for wanting. It didn't happen in one traumatic moment. It occurred gradually, subtly, daily. A phrase here, a look there, painful comparison, silence where support should exist. Little by little, you internalized that manifesting something magnificent was egoistic. That's among the most dangerous beliefs you carry. The idea that wanting more is excessive ambition, that desiring freedom, abundance, deep love is arrogance. As if only saints were permitted peace, as if suffering were the sole proof of humility. Then you begin sabotaging yourself before attempting. You feel desire, but immediately comes self-criticism, shame, comparison, doubt. It's silent yet brutal cycle because it's not the world stopping you. It's the frequency vibrating within when you face what you truly want. You don't say I cannot, but you feel it. That feeling is what the universe reads. There's an even subtler program, one making you apologize for existing. You enter rooms already seeking permission. You feel bothersome, like you occupy too much space, like you need justification. That's not shyness. That's vibrational guilt root just for being. As long as you vibrate that guilt, your reality organizes to confirm you're misplaced, unworthy, insufficient. This creates vibrational fields supporting scarcity, reinforcing not belonging feelings, convincing you deep down that you don't deserve fullness. When this field is active, it doesn't matter how many techniques you practice, nothing sustains, because your word is born from poisoned soil. But here's the key. None of this is your essence. It was installed, inherited, copied. You learned to vibrate at limitation frequency because of repeated exposure by people who loved you but were trapped in identical systems. Teachers unaware of word power, leaders confusing obedience with faith, religions transforming spirituality into fear. What nobody revealed is this entire structure has a source, a specific vibrational point where distortion began. That point isn't in mind. It's in subtle field where emotion becomes pattern, where belief becomes reality. Until that point is undone, you'll continue wishing with soul and sabotaging with vibration. You can feel it now. Every time you approach major change, something within tightens. Strange sensation appears, inexplicable hesitation, fear disguised as caution, and you step back. You say it wasn't right time and convince yourself you weren't ready, but you were. You simply couldn't hold new frequency. There exists forgotten code, original wisdom fragment that wasn't corrupted. It was hidden but not destroyed. It vibrates silently within the culture that programmed you. That code can flip the entire sabotage structure. That code is about to be revealed. There exists a word you've encountered countless times. Perhaps you've smiled upon hearing it, dismissed it as theatrical nonsense, associated it with stage magicians pulling rabbits from hats, or children pretending to cast spells. But what if this seemingly trivial word actually represents one of humanity's most potent spiritual expressions? When spoken correctly, this ancient utterance shifts atmospheric energy itself. There's undeniable weight, vibration transcending ordinary experience. This isn't accidental. The word possesses roots extending far beyond recorded history. It existed before language became systematic communication. During epochs when sound served as ritual, when words weren't explanatory tools but commanding forces. This sacred utterance originates from Aramaic, carrying not exotic sounds but direct meaning. Through my speech, I create. Pause and absorb that concept. Through my speech, I create. This isn't decorative phrasing. It's vibrational mathematics, living manifestation formula, hidden reminder that your utterances bridge intention and reality. Now consider this carefully. If such direct, powerful, clear coding existed, why was it transformed into entertainment? The answer is uncomfortable yet necessary. Everything carrying genuine power eventually faces ridicule, because concealing secrets through mockery proves more effective than prohibition. Making people laugh at truth disarms and neutralizes it. Thus the code was positioned openly before everyone, yet nobody took it seriously. While you grew up hearing this word in films and magic shows, initiated practitioners spoke it in authentic rituals, healing ceremonies, transition portals, silent vibrational practices. They understood its meaning. They knew speech serves as creation's primary tool. They understood every sound carries geometric patterns, and every geometric pattern vibrates at specific frequencies affecting surrounding fields. But this code doesn't respond to casual usage. It refuses random application. It demands more than repetition. It requires presence. It requires alignment. Because this sacred utterance functions as vibrational password. Like every password, it only activates when the system recognizes your frequency. Memorization proves useless. Repetition with scattered consciousness accomplishes nothing. If your field lacks alignment, the code remains dormant because it doesn't respond to superficial aesthetics. It responds to vibrational integrity. That's why countless people repeat mantras, affirmations, beautiful phrases, yet nothing manifests. Because the universe doesn't read words, it reads frequency. The vibration supporting the word commands reality. If that vibration is contaminated by doubt, fear, anxiety, or desperation, what returns is exactly that reflection. The genuine secret isn't the word itself, but the internal state of the speaker. Ancient practitioners understood this. They prepared their bodies, cleared their fields, quieted their minds. Only after that preparation was the word released. It was spoken as decree, not request, as confirmation of something already real in invisible realms. This sacred utterance wasn't used as wish. It served as anchor, sealing what had already been created in other dimensions. It was the vibrational closing of complete process. Therefore it was sacred. That's why it was reserved. That's why it was hidden. But it wasn't lost. It continued vibrating, concealed in symbols, between lines, in children's stories, in performers' gestures, in theatrical jokes. Because truth possesses curious survival methods. It disguises itself until someone becomes ready for recognition. And now you're ready. Because now you understand words aren't random sounds. They're instruments of power. Some carry within themselves sequences that pierce through reality layers. This sacred utterance is one such word, not through magic, but through vibrational physics. Sound creates form. The verb organizes vibration. When vibration is pure, the verb becomes command, and command shapes reality. But for this to occur, you must remember what society forced you to forget. Before speaking with power, you must relearn listening with presence. You've undoubtedly experienced this frustration. Clearly stating desires, declaring goals, repeating positive affirmations, setting intentions with complete dedication, yet nothing shifts. Like the universe has become deaf, like your speech produces only meaningless noise. This occurs more frequently than you imagine. The problem isn't incorrect expression. The problem is empty expression. Enormous difference exists between verbalizing desire and embodying that desire vibrationally. Speech alone possesses no power. What shapes reality is the vibration supporting the expression. That vibration cannot be faked, copied, or borrowed. It either exists or it doesn't. The universe responds with mathematical precision. Not every utterance is creative verb. Not every sound manifests. Many simply fill air, repeat patterns, mask fear, camouflage insecurity. When this occurs, sound exits the mouth but never penetrates the field. It dies without crossing anything, touching anything, shaping anything. That's why countless affirmations fail. Because while mouth speaks one thing, the field vibrates another. Person claims readiness, but body carries tension. Mind remains divided. Heart stays closed. In that state, verb cannot cross realms, it lacks passage. For expression to be creative, it must function as bridge. It must connect invisible with visible, internal with external, what you feel with what you live. That connection only occurs when entire field achieves coherence, thought, emotion, presence, and body all align with identical frequency. If any part misaligns, the expression fails because it requires vibrational foundation. Without that foundation, it collapses. You feel this physically. You speak enthusiastically, but internally doubt. You claim trust while carrying anxiety. You request with faith while vibrating desperation. Then comes frustration, exhaustion, feeling that you're doing everything correctly yet nothing changes. The root problem isn't in your words. It's at the point where speech originates, because field speaks before mouth, vibration precedes sound. If your expression emerges from fragmented place, it exits contaminated, even if beautiful, even if well formulated. Now observe carefully. Some people don't speak frequently, but when they do, you feel it. You feel it in your body, your skin, your gut, because it's not content that impacts. It's vibration, it's presence, it's field carrying the expression. Those are words that penetrate, move, transform. This applies to you too. Your expression can carry that weight, that power. But first, you must identify its origin. Does it emerge from fear of loss or desire to please? From urgency to fix something, or from center that's aligned, rooted, strong? The answer isn't in phrase you choose. It's in feeling you experience when speaking it. If your body tenses, breathing accelerates, chest constricts, something's wrong. The expression emerges from sabotaged place. In that case, repetition won't help. You need silence, feeling, origin adjustment. That's where everything begins shifting. When you stop trying to convince the universe and start observing yourself truthfully. When you realize expressions aren't for obtaining something external, but for manifesting something already prepared internally. It's subtle shift, but radical. Because in that moment, your speech stops being attempt and becomes expression. That shift transforms words into bridges. It allows verb to actually cross invisible and touch physical world. But for this to genuinely occur, the place where verb is born must be the correct point. And that's exactly where most people fail without noticing. The concept of integrity carries weight that might initially sound moralistic. Like being integral means being perfect, proper, flawless. But that's among the biggest misconceptions ever attached to this term. Integrity has nothing to do with right or wrong. It's about vibrational coherence. That coherence isn't taught through rules, it's revealed through presence. Being integral with verb means your speech emerges from deep authenticity. It's when your words perfectly synchronize with your feelings, thoughts, vibrations. No contradiction, no concealment, no distortion. When misalignment occurs, when you say one thing and feel another, verb loses power. It becomes divided. That internal division acts like crack where power leaks. The universe senses this because universe doesn't respond to word forms. It responds to vibration, holding the expression. Imagine affirmation like, I am wealthy. You can repeat it thousands of times daily. You can write it on notes. You can place it on mirrors. But if, while repeating that phrase, you feel fear of lack, shame for wanting, guilt for desiring more, then that affirmation is being sabotaged by your own vibrational field. That's what most people don't recognize. Every word spoken with doubt, every self-deprecating joke, every ironic comment about yourself, every complaint thrown into air, all becomes reverse spell, vibrational code commanding reality to continue showing what you're consciously trying to change. You claim wanting out of cycle, but reinforce cycle with phrases like, nothing ever works, my life's chaos, this is typical, I'm so unlucky. They're throwaway lines often said jokingly. But universe doesn't understand tone, it understands coherence, it understands field. This is where forgotten training of ancient master begins. True masters didn't just transform metals, they transformed frequency. Before any expression was spoken, they prepared field, silenced themselves, recentered, aligned body, breathed consciously because they knew verb doesn't start in mouth. It starts at being's core. Integrity isn't artificial effort. It's vibrational decision. Choice to no longer betray yourself with speech, to no longer use words as outlet for frustration, anger, self-punishment. It's quiet, firm attitude declaring, from now on, what I speak will be what I can sustain. Nothing more, nothing less. This doesn't mean speaking beautifully. It means speaking truthfully. It means even silence becomes verb. Even pause communicates presence. Even unspoken vibrates creation, because you start occupying space with clarity, not noise. How do you know the exact moment you begin breaking destructive cycle? It's when your speech starts emerging from new place. When facing difficult situation, instead of repeating automatic complaint, you breathe. Instead of saying, "This always happens to me," you say internally, "This is teaching me something." Or you simply remain quiet. That's integrity. Not because you've become saint, but because you've chosen awareness over reaction. That's beginning of real alignment, internal state that starts purifying your expression. The more that state stabilizes, the more verb starts acting with power. Words gain weight. Reality begins responding. Not through magic, but because everything emerging from you now comes with pure vibrational strength. But to sustain verb at that level, you need something more. You'll need to activate center that's been dormant, forgotten point inside your body that transforms speech into coherent vibration. Without that point, no integrity lasts. It's not the mind, it's not the throat, it's the heart. Common belief suggests verb emerges from mind or speech. That creative power lies in well-chosen words, correct pronunciation, mental intention. But mind only organizes, throat only projects. What truly activates verb is energy center pulsing right in your chest center. This point, often ignored, is where vibration becomes life, where verb illuminates. And it's the only place it can be sustained. Heart isn't just organ pumping blood, it's largest electromagnetic field in human body. That's not mysticism. It's science. Frequency generated by heart is so intense, so expansive, that it influences everything around it. That's precisely why, when expression passes through this center before being spoken, it carries force that no technique alone can generate. There's type of speech that impacts directly, cuts through, creates goosebumps. Not because it was eloquently spoken, but because it was expressed from soul. You've heard it, felt it. Those are expressions that hit your chest before hitting your ears. This doesn't need explanation because they're recognized. That recognition occurs because heart speaks language that doesn't depend on logic. It doesn't need proof. It doesn't need justifications. It feels. And feeling here transcends emotion. It's presence, real vibration, full coherence between what's expressed and what's lived internally. When you speak with awakened heart, there's no contradiction. Expression is born whole. It doesn't try convincing. It doesn't seek approval. It simply is. By being, it vibrates. By vibrating, it creates. But this doesn't happen automatically. Most people speak from mind, from anxiety, from comparison, from urgency to be understood. When this occurs, expression loses warmth, loses soul, loses presence. It might be well constructed, but it has no root, no life. Speaking from heart isn't impulsive, it's conscious surrender. State where you allow your being's deepest vibration to rise, pass through body, manifest as sound. When this occurs, something shifts in field. Expressions don't just inform, they transform. You feel it physically. Your chest opens, breathing deepens, speech slows, energy spreads. No more effort, no more performance, just truth. That truth doesn't need defending. It stands alone because it emerges from place not trying to prove anything. It's simply revealing. This is secret ancients guarded with reverence. They knew you don't just say anything in any state. They knew that if heart is closed, wounded, contracted, verb finds no passage. It scatters, it fragments. That's why many expressions, even said with good intentions, don't create real transformation. Heart needs to be present, not emotionally unstable, but energetically grounded. This only occurs when you quiet mind's noise, breathe deeply, acknowledge what you're feeling before attempting to verbalize it. In that pause, verb begins aligning. Heart doesn't speak from convenience, it speaks from connection. It doesn't speak to win, it speaks to express. It doesn't speak to defend, it speaks to reveal. That kind of expression creates sustainable realities. Because when you speak with heart, universe responds with matching frequency. It's like your verb becomes living password, unlocking invisible doors. That kind of expression doesn't dissolve into air. It leaves traces. It anchors energy. It transforms environments. It changes relationships. It redefines even what's already past. Because expression from heart doesn't follow linear time. It vibrates in eternal. It touches what's ready to be touched and transforms what's ready to be healed. Right now you might already feel that slight expansion in your chest, subtle vibration, desire to become quiet, not from tiredness, but from respect. That's your heart responding not to what's being said, but to what's being remembered. When that center awakens, verb becomes more than speech. It becomes active frequency. It starts gently reshaping what once seemed impossible to change. That's exactly when verb anchors in heart, new vibration begins rising. Vibration so rare, so pure that few have ever accessed it. The quintessence. Air, earth, fire, water. These four elements shape all matter you can touch, see, smell, hear. They build nature, bodies, cycles. They're foundation of everything you call reality. But behind them exists something that can't be captured easily. Something that doesn't manifest in visible world, but gives shape to invisible. Fifth element that ancients called ether, or spirit, subtle essence. But for true masters, it carries even deeper name, quintessence. Quintessence is not element like others. It has no form, no color, no smell. But without it, nothing maintains coherence. It's vibration that unifies four elements. It's invisible thread weaving fire with water and air with earth. Without it, elements collapse, clash, disconnect. But with it, everything harmonizes. It's not opposed to other elements. It flows through them. It's in fire, giving purpose to its combustion. It's in water, giving direction to its flow. It's in air, giving meaning to its expansion. It's in earth, giving life to its solidity. It's frequency that sustains coherence between what is subtle and what is dense. Most surprising part is this force isn't outside you. It vibrates within. Quiet, patient, waiting for right moment to emerge. Often it's already appeared, but you didn't notice because quintessence doesn't impose itself. It reveals itself when you are in state of wholeness. You felt it in moments when everything seemed flowing effortlessly. When you spoke something, and even before finishing, it started happening. When every decision seemed aligned with something greater. When you acted without anxiety, felt without being overwhelmed. It was like reality collaborated with every step, like life answered before you even asked. That wasn't coincidence. It was quintessence. This state isn't common because it requires something rare. Absolute presence without effort. Mind, when it tries controlling this state, destroys it. Heart, when it tries forcing coherence, breaks it. But when body, verb, and spirit align in silence, quintessence appears. What it creates lasts because it doesn't emerge from lack. It doesn't emerge from urgency. It doesn't emerge from fear. Quintessence creates sustainable realities because it creates from wholeness, not from need. It doesn't try filling void, it overflows. Ancient masters knew this. They weren't trying to manipulate world with formulas. They were trying to harmonize themselves with this frequency because they knew that once tuned into it, they wouldn't need fighting for transformation. Transformation would happen by resonance. Presence of quintessence changes tone of your voice, look in your eyes, energy in your writing. It infuses everything. That's why what you create from it carries life of its own. Your expressions become seeds that sprout independently. Your actions become waves that keep vibrating even after you stop. Your very existence becomes field of influence. But this frequency can't be accessed by someone divided inside. Doubt, fear, guilt, uncontrolled desire, all blocks channel through which quintessence flows because it doesn't vibrate in urgency. It doesn't respond to commands. It responds to authenticity, to energetic maturity, to full silence of intention. It is therefore vibration of true master, not sorcerer who wants control, nor seeker who wants collecting techniques, but one who's understood that greatest power isn't in what you do, but in state of being from which you do it. When this fifth element awakens in you, something changes permanently. Expressions that once felt ordinary gain weight. Actions that once required effort become smooth. Intentions that once took time now manifest naturally. In that moment, new path opens. Path that doesn't follow routes of ordinary logic. Vibrational route that guides your expression through subtle but highly active field. Nothing is born directly into matter. Not your reality, not your desires, not your blocks. Everything descends from invisible planes following pattern that ancients knew as sacred tree. This isn't metaphor. It's real energetic map used by mystical sages, alchemists, initiates for millennia. Subtle diagram showing how intention crosses dimensions before reaching physical world. The tree consists of 10 centers, spheres of consciousness, and pathways connecting those spheres. It begins at top, where everything is pure idea, pure uncondensed light. There duality doesn't exist, only absolute potential. This is point where verb is born as intention, desire without form yet, but already pulsing. Below that point, intention begins transforming. It gains shape, organizes, passes through filters of wisdom, structure, emotion, will. Each level represents world. There are 4. First is world of pure emanations. Second, world of creation. Third, world of formation. And fourth, world of action. Physical world. Most human manifestations die in second or third world. Why? Because vibration can't sustain crossing. Person desires, visualizes, speaks, but doesn't align their energy field at every stage. Energy descends but scatters before reaching matter. For example, you have inspired idea. You feel like you're on right path, but soon after you doubt it, over-rationalize, or give in to old fears. Result: your creation's journey is interrupted. Verb doesn't reach physical plane with enough strength to manifest. It floats in invisible field like thousands of unfulfilled desires. Sacred Tree reveals what many ignore. Manifestation isn't just about wanting and acting. It's about aligning with subtle flow that descends in layers. It's about vibrating in resonance with each of those layers. Only then can what's born in invisible find fertile ground invisible. That alignment isn't automatic. It requires awareness, vibrational repetition, inner clarity, because universe only allows energy to fully descend when channel is clear. That's exactly where most people fail. They try creating with urgency, with impatience, with inner noise. But Sacred Tree teaches secret. Every manifestation only blooms when energy that sustains it stabilizes in all worlds. That's only possible when you prepare field that will receive it. But none of this holds if you don't clear field where verb will land. Most people believe creation depends on what is said, on rituals, on commands. But what really sustains manifestation is what vibrates when you're silent. Because silence doesn't hide. Silence reveals. It shows what your vibration sustains when no one is looking, when you're not trying to control anything, when mind is quiet. In this state, universe reads your true energetic signature. This reading doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you vibrate effortlessly. It's as if reality hears what you maintain without realizing. That's why wishing isn't enough. You need to hold state of someone who's already received. This is where most people get lost. They want to vibrate like someone still searching. They speak with conviction, but feel lack. They act with intention, but carry doubt in between. It's in those in-betweens, in silence between actions, that universe makes its truest reading. True manifestation is born from vibrational consistency, from silent constancy, from inner field that doesn't waver with mood or collapse with time. Reaching that takes more than strength. It takes surrender, release, kind of trust that doesn't shout, doesn't beg, simply holds. That frequency isn't trained with words. It's trained with presence, with observation, with simple and profound act of remaining whole, even facing invisible. Because when you remain, invisible starts becoming visible. Ancients knew this. They called that consistency inner work. It was real beginning of spiritual alchemy. Silent task that reprogrammed field even before any external action, because they knew that if field can't hold, word can't create. This is where real work begins. Before expression touches world, it must touch body, because body is first soil where verb incarnates. It's silent altar where each vibration rests or gets lost. If temple is misaligned, so is creation. No matter how much you want or speak with conviction, if body is fragmented, vibration scatters. Your body isn't just biology. It's sacred architecture. Every cell is particle of consciousness. Every breath is invisible bridge between planes. Every gesture is vibrational signature. It's in this body that verb gains density, form, presence. Manifestation starts solidifying when verb passes through body in full integration. This only occurs when breath is conscious, when posture opens to receive, and when energy field is cleared of tension stored by memories. Take deep breath. It's more than just oxygen. It's allowing life to move through you. It's signal to universe that you're present. When your breath aligns with intention, something shifts in field. Vibration anchors and expression gains direction. Now observe your body. How does it react when you affirm something powerful? Does it expand or contract? Does it vibrate with confidence or silently resist? Body never lies. Your reaction reveals whether what you say is truly rooted. Start now with simple exercise. Breathe deeply. Align your spine as if holding ancient truth. Feel weight of expressions you intend to anchor. Say them slowly. Feel how they vibrate in your chest. Notice if there's tension or flow. Because body is not just channel, it's ritual. When body and verb align, manifestation doesn't need effort. It just happens. Reality adjusts. Opportunities resonate. Time reorganizes because verb is no longer floating in mental field. It's grounded. When this integration occurs, ancient process starts activating. Something that can't be taught. But what happens when verb, vibration, and body unite? Alchemical method begins being remembered. You don't need learning it because you already know. Alchemical method that turns expressions into reality has been coded into you since before birth. It wasn't invented. It was recognized by ancients, simply named, symbolized, recorded in images and practices. But its essence already pulses in you. So why does it seem so hard to access? Because it doesn't shout. It doesn't appear in anxiety. It doesn't manifest when field is full of urgency, pressure, noise, comparison. Method reveals itself when there is space. When inner world is quiet enough for code to awaken independently. That's why so many masters didn't teach directly. They pointed, suggested, asked questions, because they knew that if they talked too much, they would cover direct access with more words. Real verb doesn't bloom in excess of explanation. True method is memory. It's return to what's always been, and you've already had glimpses. When you felt something greater was guiding you. When everything flowed effortlessly. When verb emerged from you with such truth that reality had no choice but to obey. That moment didn't come from reasoning. It came from vibration that naturally aligned with whole. That's vibration true method activates. Not external formula, but internal tuning. If you've made it this far, something has already started moving. Code is reorganizing. Body is more open. Mind is clearer and verb more conscious. None of this is being taught. It's being remembered. But there's still one final step. Because for verb to manifest with consistency and power, you'll need to go through final reprogramming. One that doesn't change what you say, but who you are while saying it. Before planting any vibrational seed, soil must be clean. But here, soil isn't physical, it's your subtle field. Most manifestations don't fail because of lack of intention or faith, but because of accumulated energetic contamination, traces of memories, automatic thoughts, small repeated pains, expressions heard long ago that still float around your vibration like poison codes. When verb tries manifesting in this polluted field, it weakens. It leaves your mouth with intention, but crashes into fragments of doubt, resentment, rejection, you don't even realize you're carrying. That's why this is most important moment of preparation. Real vibrational silent clearing. This clearing doesn't require physical effort or long outer rituals. It begins in silence. Type of silence that listens, observes, doesn't react immediately. Silence that detects saboteur before he speaks. Notices automatic thought before it becomes belief. Silence that stares down, root of fear without running. It's there in that instant when you don't judge or try fixing, but simply recognize that pattern starts dissolving. Now breathe with presence. Feel places in your body where there's constant tension. These are physical echoes of emotional patterns. Each contracted part holds memory, old shock, voice you absorbed as truth. Instead of fighting it or trying to think positive, try just observing. Say silently, I see you. I recognize what you've done for me up to this point. And release. That's true alchemy of field. As field clears, you start feeling more lightness even in your thoughts. That constant urgency makes room for clarity. Heart expands, and with it space for real verb to land with strength. Final preparation isn't done in rush, it's done with truth. Now something opens. As if the first time field is truly ready, clean, alive, unblocked, ready to receive what you came to emit. Now field is ready, all that's left is conscious direction. This is moment when verb stops being request and becomes command. You no longer speak like someone hoping or wishing. You speak like someone who's already seen it, already lives it, has already become vibration of what they emit. That's why now every expression born from this state can't be undone. It becomes decree. True vibrational command doesn't come from fired-up emotion or forced attitude. It comes from calm of someone who's become whole inside. You speak, and reality starts reorganizing because there's no more internal resistance. Verb emerges clean, focused, firm, with no arrogance and no rush, just vibrational certainty. Here, even your tone of voice changes. You notice you don't even need raising your volume, because when you're anchored, you don't need shouting. Command doesn't come from throat. It comes from whole being. That's why instead of trying to convince universe, you inform it. You're reminded of truth that already exists. It's so natural, it becomes inevitable. Try this now. Choose simple affirmation. But before saying it, enter state of inner silence. Clear field, feel body, align heart, then speak. But speak like you already are. Don't repeat like you're hoping. Declare it like you're living it. That's difference between wish and decree. But warning, this power, though real, is subtle. Like all great power, it doesn't hold in excess. Creative verb also knows how to stay silent because conscious silence carries vibration as strong as well-spoken expression. That's where final secret lies. There's type of silence that isn't absence or emptiness. It's vibrational presence at rest. State where nothing needs to be said because everything is already being gestated. Ancient masters understood this. True verb can only be born from clean, mature, silently full inner space. In this silence, field isn't still. It's being nourished. Expression not yet spoken is being prepared like lightning bolt that can only strike after precise energy buildup. If it's spoken too soon, it loses focus, it loses alignment, it loses its target. That's why so many speak, affirm, decree, and nothing happens. Because they didn't wait for right silence, because they didn't let verb be nourished in darkness. Creator's silence isn't silence of fear or hesitation. It's intentional, like exact moment when archer holds breath before releasing arrow. Like pause between two musical notes that, when used well, amplifies beauty of entire melody. Talking non-stop is habit of someone who doesn't trust power they hold. But conscious silence is art of someone who knows energy that sustains. Important detail, not all silence creates power. Only conscious silence, kind, that observes everything and judges nothing. That notices thoughts but doesn't feed them, hears inner voices but doesn't identify with them. This kind of silence is rare, and it's one that prepares vibrational field with same precision that nature prepares seed before sprouting. That silent space is where verb gets nourished, where it matures, where it connects not only with your desire, but also with cosmic order. Because true verb isn't just personal, it's universal. It respects life's flow, it obeys higher wisdom. When it returns to outer world, it doesn't come back as desperate noise. It returns as unstoppable force. Now it's no longer about techniques or concepts. It's about presence, full presence, clear presence, living presence. Conscious creator doesn't wait for permission or approval. They don't ask if they're ready. They simply are, because along way they dissolved noise, cleared field, integrated expression, listened to silence, remembered their origin. Verb now isn't something they use. It's something they are. Every gesture carries intention. Every choice has vibrational weight. Every expression is spoken like sacred breath, no longer rant or distraction. They don't create out of impulse or vanity. They create with awareness, with respect, with clarity. They know that every emission brings response, and that every response shapes their reality. To be master isn't to manipulate, it's to align. It's to understand that true creation isn't forced, it's allowed. It emerges when whole being vibrates in coherence with what they want to see manifested. When this occurs, there's no resistance, no contradiction. Life reorganizes to respond. You no longer need convincing or trying or proving, because now your presence is proof. You've become verb, not just as sound, but as living vibration that travels through realms. You walk with energetic integrity, speak with precision, stay silent with wisdom. When you create with soul. Nothing shared here was to fill you with formulas. It was to empty you of what kept you from remembering, because conscious creator doesn't need ready-made formulas. They carry code that was always there, waiting to be reactivated. Universe doesn't obey wants. It responds to vibration of someone who remembers what they came to manifest. If you've made it this far, it's because verb has already started moving inside you. Write in comments, "I remember the sacred word." This phrase will anchor your vibration and can activate others who were ready but needed that spark. If you want to support this channel directly and help spread this message across the world, there's link in description where you can contribute freely. Or you can use super thanks button here on YouTube. That way, you're not only supporting, but also helping amplify this vibration in collective. Don't leave just yet. Special transmission has been carefully selected to take you even deeper on this journey of reconnecting with creative power. Click on screen now, and I'll meet you there.